what's going on, everybody? So,
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
nope. So, time for another Tell My Story. This one today is going to come from Craig Borden, my buddy Craig Borden. So, here we go. He wrote to me, he said, as you probably know, my youngest son bought a 75 Torino wagon years ago. It was going to be used as a demo derby car, but they couldn't get it to run, thank God. That saved its life. So anyway, we rented a tow dolly and went to get it. I was using my 72 Cheyenne C10 to tow it. I think the wagon and the dolly combined weighed more than the pickup, so you can imagine it was a handful to stop. The worst incident we had was coming through traffic in Clarksville, Tennessee. Some inconsiderate driver changed lanes from the left lane in front of us and promptly slammed on the brakes to turn right. I stood on the brakes with just locked up the rear wheels and made some impressive screeching. It got everyone's attention, and we narrowly avoided ramming the aggressive driver who caused all this. Both my son and I were jolted a bit, but we did get it home safely without further incident. Ultimately, we discovered why it wouldn't run. Someone had replaced the original 2-barrel and EGR spacer with an upside-down 4 to 2-barrel adapter and had a 4-barrel on the 2V intake. What they didn't realize is the 351 modified intake was designed to use the carb spacer for the EGR, and the adapter left a huge vacuum leak. So bad that it would not run at all. So we put an aluminum 4V intake and a Holley on it, and that solved that problem. It actually runs pretty good. Well, that's a good one there because that saved that car's life. But yeah, I've had those people turn in front of me and had to slam on the brakes. No doubt. Oh, and I hate when one locks up. Reminds me of a story coming back home. So we worked over by Cabela's, and my buddy had a Ford truck, and he was having some problems with one of his front brakes locking up. He said, yeah, the other day, he said, I was coming along here and traffic stopped in front of me. He said, I looked up and had to slam on the brakes. So there was one skid mark going into the median. And about that time we looked up and there was traffic stopped again. And once again, the left front tire, it locked up, left front wheel locked up, and there was one skid mark heading right into the median. So yeah, it was a little bit scary, but that tire had some flat spots on it after that. All right, well, thankfully that saved that car's life, and that's a good one. Thank goodness they didn't know anything about vacuum leaks. All right, well, we got another one from Craig Borden, and this one's not a Torino story. As a matter of fact, he writes, it's not a Torino, but the car doesn't matter. The project involved replacing everything with the brakes. I recruited my wife to help bleed the brakes, a job she has done many times. This time I had her in the car to work the pedal as usual. I made sure the master cylinder was full, and I began at the right rear. I couldn't get any air or fluid. I was puzzled. Everything, including lines and junction blocks, master and wheel cylinders, were all replaced. I moved to each wheel with the same results. I was getting very confused, so I decided to go straight to the master cylinder. Still nothing. So I decided to check with my wife to see exactly what she was doing. Well, after I asked her to show me, I died laughing. Now she was confused. She had been pushing the clutch pedal instead of the brake pedal. In her defense, however, the car didn't have the gas pedal in it, yet so she assumed the clutch pedal was the brake pedal. Anyway, after a good laugh, we were able to bleed the brakes. That's awesome. I've had some good belly laughs with my wife, and of course you heard some of my wife's stories last time, but I will tell you one that she tells on herself. So back when she was younger, her dad, she knew about checking the oil and everything in her car. Her brother was on the couch. She walks in and asks him, hey, where does Dad keep the funnels? He goes, well, out in the garage. So she goes out there and she looks around. So she walks through, goes back out, and then she comes back in. She goes, does he have any funnels that are smaller than that? And she goes, he goes, no. He goes, well, what exactly are you trying to do? She said, well, I'm trying to put oil in the car. I checked it and it's low, and I'm trying to put some oil in it, but the funnels are too big. So he goes, show me what you're doing. So they walked out there, and she was actually trying to pour the oil in the dipstick tube. She figured if she checked the oil from the dipstick tube, it would definitely go back to where it needed to be. So yes, in her defense, she was at least putting it where it was supposed to be, just not in the right thing. But all right, Craig Borden, thanks for those. And anybody else, if you want to hear your story on here, and let me know. Send it to my email, alexkleinhens46@gmail.com. Hopefully y'all send some in if you want to hear your story on here. Y'all have a great night.